If you are familiar with the visualization functions, this should be hopefully very intuitive. So for something like list plot or list line plot, you can either specify a single column, in which case it's taken as the y values, or you can specify a list of columns, a list of 2 columns, in which case you're specifying the x and y coordinates for the plot. If you go up to something like list plot 3D or list contour plot, then you're specifying a list of 3 columns as the x, y, and z coordinates, similar to how you would specify XYZ triples for irregular data for those functions. In something like histogram or bar chart and pie chart, you're going to specify the column that represents the one value that contains the values that you're interested in displaying. And one of the nice things about using Tabular for visualization is that the visualization functions are able to see the type information in the tabular object and automatically make use of it. Whether it's a time column or a date column or even categorical ordered or unordered data, we can make use of that. So we'll go through a few examples relatively quickly, and we're going to start with a data set of sales data for a theoretical company, and we have market sectors of who they're selling to and what region is doing the selling and what product they're selling and when they sold it and who the customer was and how many they sold, what the revenue was, what the profit was, and what their cost was. And this data set is a little bit bigger than I wanted, so I'm just looking at things for sales for the second half of 2015. And so I just used select to trim it down to something a little bit more manageable in terms of the data. So the first thing I'm going to do is a little bit of cleaning in this case. And so what I'm going to do is I want to, back up a moment. So I want to look at what my sales is over time. And so to do that, I'm going to aggregate my sales and all the numeric things. I'm just going to add them up, and I'm going to aggregate by date. So any sale on July 31st of 2015 is all going to get summed up in terms of revenue, profit, cost, etc. And now we can create a plot. And so this is sales 2 aggregated version. Sales 2 is my tabular, arrow, string profit. And so this is just pulling numbers from this profit column in order, starting at 984, then going to 4,000. And so if we look at this, there's 984, there's 1,000, somewhere over here is 4,000, etc. I guess there's 4,000, there's the 10,000. And so great. I've easily created a plot of my profits, for those 6 months. It's not cumulative profit; it's just per day. Cumulative would be another operation on this table. We can look at what goes into that profit. What was my revenue and what was my cost on each of those sales? And so here I'm giving 2 rows, and this is probably the most complicated of the things of this most complicated instance of the syntax, which is that I want to look at my revenue, I want to look at my cost, and I had to put an extra level of list around each of these, because if I just said revenue and cost, then that would put revenue on the x-axis and cost on the y-axis, and I want the series. And because I'm doing the series, so far list line plots hasn't known anything about where these came from, and so it's just starting at 1 and going up to about 120. But we have that date column in the table, and so I can include that. And so in this case, I'm saying my x-axis is date, my y-axis is my profit, and it sees the date column, it looks at the tabular, realizes that it is a date type, and automatically switches to a date axis as if I had either used date list plot here or done list line plot with a scaling function goes to date type specification. And as before, I can split out the cost and the revenue, And here we have a list of multiple things again, with the date and the revenue and the date and the cost. And then we get the two curves. As I mentioned before, if we looked at just a pair of things, and this is list plot instead of list line plot, because these points are not ordered at all, they're just going to show up wherever they show up. This is very random in terms of, there's no, our cost or revenue aren't increasing. And if you did this as list line plot, it would just be a big scribble of curves. But so we have cost on our x-axis, revenue on our y-axis, and you can see for this company that it's very tight band in terms of what they, how they're pricing their products. There's nothing that's really cheap to make but being sold for a lot, or not really anything being sold as a loss leader where they're losing money on every sale. Moving on to an example from statistical visualization, we're going to use the same initial sales data, and we're going to look at the quantity column. And so this is, how many items were sold at a time. And we can see that it's relatively evenly distributed. I mean, it doesn't skew toward large sales or especially toward small sales. It turns out that they're sort of selling everything in increments of 100 in this data set. And so that's sort of the finest granularity that this histogram can do. But we just said sales, quantity, and it started, it used that quantity column to generate the histogram. If we pivot the data by region and keep track of the quantity, then this effectively creates multiple data sets for us. And so I'm going to scroll over a little bit. And so the result of the pivot operation is that for quantity, we now have Northeast, South, Midwest, and West, where each region has their own sub-column, so to speak, their own column. And as long as the Northeast, South, Midwest, West are unique within this table as column names, we can refer to them directly. If we had costs also split by Northeast, South, Midwest, and West, then we would have to use extended key to say that we want quantity Northeast, quantity South, quantity North, Midwest, and West. And so this allows us to create a histogram with multiple data sets. Because there's not a lot of big peaks in the data, this is kind of a jumbled mess. But if we stack the bars, then we get a better look. And so we have our pivots. We're going to look at our 4 regions. We're going to add a legend for the regions, and we're going to use a stacked layout. And we sort of see that the West region doesn't do a lot of sales compared to the others, and the Midwest and South do maybe some larger sales, and the Northeast does maybe more of the smaller sales, because these, sort of the heights of these blue bars are below 500 are greater than the heights of the bars above 500. And then finally, we'll take a look at something involving bar charts. And so we'll do yet another aggregation and a little bit of a sort by, some more data processing before we do the visualization. And so we're going to aggregate our sales by region. We're going to sort by region after we've aggregated by region and product. And so as Rob mentioned, this is going to give us a result with 2 key columns. And so within this region column, we have multiple rows that are in the Midwest. Within product, we have multiple rows that are Gizmo and Gadget and all the other products. But within this tabular, there is only one Midwest Gizmo row. There's only one Midwest Gadget row, etc. And so then there's a little bit of processing here to have something that looks nice in a format that I liked. And we can do a bar chart. And so we're going to take our modified tabular. We're going to extract the revenue column. We're going to use this formatted labels that I computed. Bar origin on the left, plot theme to make it nice and wide. And now we have, our bar chart of revenue, and each bar corresponds to a region and a product. So, the largest revenue came from gadgets sold in the South. And so that is brief overview of how the visualization works. I think this syntax is something that people will adjust to very quickly. I think it feels relatively natural, and especially if if you're already familiar with bar chart or list plot or slice density plot 3D or something, figuring out what items are going to go on the right hand side of that rule is not complicated.